Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yang berbahagia Datuk Haji Rosli Issa, Secretary General, Ministry of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change, NRECC. Yang berbahagia Datuk Engineer Dr. Mat Nasir Matno, Director General, Department of Irrigation and Drainage, Malaysia, and President, Malaysian National Committee on Large Dams, MYCOLD. Mr. Michel Lino, President, International Commission on Large Dam. Yang berbahagia Datuk Engineer Roslan Abdul Rahman, Chief Operating Officer, TNB Power Generation Sdn Berhad. Yang berusaha Engineer Polycarp Wong Yang Fui, Vice President Hydro Sarawak NG Berhad. Professor Dr. Ignacio Escudo Bueno, the past President of Spain Coal. And also Lieutenant General Sajad, the Chairman of the Pakistan Water and Power Development Authority. Distinguished guests, keynote speakers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Committee on Large Dams, MYCOLD, I am pleased to extend a warm and gracious welcome to all international and national delegates gathered here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Selamat datang. As we come together for the second International Conference on Dam Safety Management and Engineering, also known as ICD SME 2023, with a theme, Resilient Dams for Safe Communities. We have a unique opportunity to share our knowledge, experience, and best practices in the field of dam safety management and engineering. Our decision to organize this conference in collaboration with Asia 2023 is strategic and relevant. The official opening ceremony was held last Tuesday on 14 March 2023 by Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Huang Tiong Si, Deputy Minister of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change, NRECC. It aligns with our mission to turn dam safety management development policies into practical solutions to address the critical issues of climate change and sustainability. We are proud to be part of this global effort, and we are committed to find innovative solutions that will benefit all nations and people. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian National Committee on Large Dams, MYCOLD, is a non-governmental organization and Malaysia's representative for ICOL. It provides a forum for the exchange of knowledge and experience in dam engineering and leads the professionals in ensuring the dams are built safely, efficiently, economically, without detrimental effects on the environment. So our objective include producing and disseminating information to all members on issues related to them, acting as the sole representative of Malaysia at the International Commission on Large Dam, and carrying out activities for dam safety management and engineering. We are also a professional body that links society and government in supporting national policies, especially in dam-related matters. So MYCOLD actively reviews and shares information on an international stage to best represent the dam practices in Malaysia, aligning with the main principles of the ICOL World Declaration on Dam Safety and the ICOL Action Plan on Dam Safety. I am honored to declare that at ICD SME 2023 conference, we have accepted 78 papers out of 95 submissions from 7 dam safety-related tracks. And all these papers will be published in Scopus Index publications. At our conference, we have both technical and poster sessions where researchers from various institutions will demonstrate their works related to dam safety management. So it is inspiring to see participants and dam experts from more than 15 countries convene here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for presentation, exchange of knowledge, and to discuss important topics related to dam safety issues. As part of this conference, MYCOLD has organized keynote speeches by prominent experts, pre- and post-conference workshop, and a forum on dam safety by world-renowned dam engineers under the theme of Resilient Dams for Safe Communities. In addition, MYCOLD has also organized Best Dam Operator Awards to acknowledge the dam operator that follows MyDam's best practices in order to ensure the safety of dams and surrounding public. We are also jointly arranging 2 technical tours to Sungai Perak Hydroelectric Scheme and also Klang Gate Smart Tunnel and Putrajaya Dam. Distinguished guests and participants, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to the MYCOLD for their invaluable cooperation and support in making this conference possible. And with that, I would like to extend our special thanks to Mr. Marcelino, President of MYCOLD, for his tireless efforts and dedication to our shared mission. Also, I would like to thank all the committee members, technical teams, exhibitors, and sponsors, especially the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and Climate Change, Malaysian National Committee on Large Dam, Universiti Tenaga Nasional, TMB GENCO, Department of Irrigation and Drainage, National Disaster Management Agency, Sarawak and Berhad, and NAHRIM, for working together in making these prestigious conferences a great success. As a responsible and forward-thinking professional society, we are committed to building a sustainable future for all, and we are proud to contribute to this global effort. And this conference is therefore timely and appropriate for all professionals, engineers, practitioners, regulators, and academicians to broaden their knowledge and keep abreast with the latest guideline technology and innovations pertaining to managing dams in the future. It is also a golden opportunity for us all to learn from experts in dams worldwide who have shown commitment by participating in this event. We hope you will have fruitful sessions and gain beautiful experiences from this conference. So with that, I end my welcoming speech, Better Dams for a Better World. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datin. Next, I'd like to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Haji Rosli Issa, Secretary General, Ministry of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change, NRECC, for the opening speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera and very good evening. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa sallallahu wasallam. Yang berbahagia Datuk Nasir Maknoh, Director General DID Malaysia. Yang berusaha Datin Profesor Dr. Laria, Chairman Secretary National Conference and Dam Safety Management and Engineering, and Co-President MYCOLD, His Excellency Mr. Michel Lino, President of the National Commission on Large Dams, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to deliver the opening speech of the second international conference on dam safety management and engineering. It is indeed a great pleasure and a privilege to be among these distinguished audience this evening. The participants of this conference involve key players like experts, senior public speaker, public official, and captains of industry in the field of the dam safety engineering worldwide. I would like to say also selamat datang, and I am very pleased to note that there are about 350 professionals from 15 countries, including France, US, Japan, India, Nepal, and Australia. Represented here, I feel extremely glad to welcome everyone to this much-awaited conference, as it marks the second biannual conference. This gives me immense to be standing among instead professionals of this conference. I would like also to thank the collaboration partners, DID, Uniten, TNB GENCO, NAHRIM, National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, and Sarawak Energy Berhad, and other agencies for their efforts and commitment. This is an excellent example of various multinational and international companies or agencies in bringing a positive impact to mankind, especially on dam safety management and engineering. I strongly believe that this conference would serve as a platform to gather professionals and experts in the dam relation fields to discuss and share the latest information and technology to enhance further knowledge of the researchers, engineers, stakeholders, and public in the field of dam safety. Besides knowledge sharing, new connecting and growth of the network among the dam safety experts and professionals in crucial is fostering strong international connection. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this conference, Resilient Dam for the Safety Communities, it is consistent with the mission of the Ministry, Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change, NRECC, is serving the communities and providing protection of life, properties, and environment from any dam-related failures. In order to sustain the economic growth of the nation, a reliable, safe, and well-maintained dam is and most important. The engineering of dam has evolved from crude works to increasingly complex present system nowadays. It is expensive to build and maintain, actually. The absence of best management practice on dam safety may increase the risk of dam failures, which may cause loss of life and properties, as well as economic and environmental damages. Hence, the theme of this conference is timely to enable us to sit down together and think the ways to improve how to manage our dam effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last half century, we have seen the tremendous increase in dam constructed around the world. Malaysia too is left behind. Currently, we have about 104 dams, and it is considered large compared to the size of Malaysia. This is made even more challenging due to the facts. At the same time, dams are aging. Hence, we need to rethink how to build and maintain our dam so they can last longer, cheapest to maintain and always in the safe condition. Ladies and gentlemen, dam failures can be extremely catastrophic. Large number of the dam failures have caused immense property damage and loss of life and destroying infrastructures, cities, and also natural environment. Malaysia itself is not spread from experiencing a series of the dam failures since 1883, with the latest example being the collapse at the Chereh Dam's reservoir bank in Pahang on 21st December 2021, for instance. Before 2018, there was no specific law of guidelines on our dams safety in Malaysia. The safety management practiced by dam operators in the country was mostly by self-regulation. There needs to be a clear regulatory body to control activities on dam development and operation. Fortunately, the Malaysia Dam Safety Management Guideline by dam has been introduced and implemented since September 2017. This is in line with the government decision of the 12th National Water Resources Council meeting held in 2017. Since then, the ministry has put an effort to ensure that all our dams are maintained in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner and are consistent with MyDams. MyDams aims to ensure that dam management in Malaysia is uniform with standard safety management practice and systematically and effectively implemented. It is also to ensure the integrity of the dam safety and that dams function as designed. Also may be related to current issue and focus for the climate change. Since then, the ministry has put an effort to ensure that all our dams are maintained in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner and operate according to MyDam. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry have established Dam Safety Flying Squad in 2017 to inspect high-risk dams in Malaysia. I'm very proud to announce that the flying squad successfully completed the inspection of all high-risk dams at the end of 2022. The findings were presented to the cabinet, and the dam owners operators are continuously taking appropriate measures so that dams do not endanger life and public property dam and catchment area are not be prevented. Moving forward, clear governance will be established to ensure all 104 dams in nationwide are accounted for their safety and maintenance. This conference is timely for all us to make the first step toward the sharing and exchanging of knowledge, idea and experience that can make the world a better place to live in. We must embrace innovation in driving productivity for the dam industry. I sincerely believe that can be achieved from this conference as well as the exhibition on show which offer ideas, solutions and products for dams and critical water infrastructures. I feel very impressed that there are several distinguished resource persons, keynote speakers, papers presenters, and participants from both local and overseas who are actively involved in the water resources research and management participating in the conference. Indeed, your participation and knowledge sharing is indispensable and highly appreciated. Your expertise is needed to help us developing and sustainably managing our dam, considering the people, livelihood, and the environment as well. I would like to express my gratitude to all speakers and participants for their valuable contribution to this conference. My deepest gratitude goes to the conference here and conference chairman, member of the organizing community, exhibitors and sponsors for this time and effort put forth to ensure the successful of the conference. I truly appreciate the MYCOLD for their cooperation and continuous support. Special thanks to Mr. Marcelino as a president of MYCOLD and his team. And last, thank you very much, and thanks for your being part of this conference. To all delegates from abroad, a very warm welcome to you to Malaysia, and I wish you a very pleasant stay here. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk. I'd like to request for Yang Berbahagia Datuk to remain on stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Please welcome on stage Yang Berbahagia Datuk Insinyur Dr. Mat Nasir Mat Noor. Now I'd like to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Insinyur Dr. Mat Nasir Mat Noor to present a bouquet of flowers as our appreciation of the kind support to Yang Berbahagia Datuk Haji Rosli Issa. Thank you very much. Pass back to me. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia Datuk. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with the keynote session, let's sit back and enjoy a montage especially prepared by the organizing committee. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now carry on with the keynote sessions. For your information, we have 2 keynote sessions with a total of 5 esteemed keynote speakers today. To begin, I would like to invite Datin Professor Insinyur Dr. Laria Muhammad Siddiq, Chairman of ICD SME 2023, also Co-President of Malaysian National Committee on Large Dams, MYCOLD, to introduce our keynote speakers for the first session. Please welcome on stage Yang Berbahagia Datin.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for today's event. As we gather here today to discuss the future in dam safety, we are fortunate to have with us an individual who has dedicated their life to advancing this field and has made a significant impact in this dam industry. Now let us begin with introduction of our first keynote speaker, Mr. Michel Lino. So Mr. Michel Lino graduated in civil engineering from École Nationale des Ponts Chaussées, Paris in 1973, co-founded ISL Engineering in 1986 with more than 40 years of professional activity dedicated to the engineering of dams and water projects. And Michel Lino is now a dam consultant advisor to various owners and contractors and a member of several dam safety panel of experts. So his experience includes large dam, hydroelectric and river facilities for many owners in hydraulic and hydropower. Michel Lino is also author of more than 40 scientific and technical publications in the field of dam design and water project. He was awarded by MYCOLD in Bali in June 2014, especially for his contribution to the development of Hartfield Dams design, and is currently Vice President of MYCOLD Technical Committee P on Cemented Materials Dams. He served as Vice President of MYCOLD for Europe for the term 2016-2019, and he was President of the French Committee on Dams and Reservoirs from January 2017 to June 2022. In June 2022, he was elected as the new President of MYCOLD. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Marcelino to deliver your keynote speech. Please welcome Mr. Marcelino.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction. Excellencies, Dato Rosli, Dato Nasir, Datin Laria Motside, distinguished guests and delegates, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I will, my speech will be to address the problem of dam safety and to deliver some general information on worldwide dam safety. I don't know why it's go. Please, back. Thank you. I want to deliver some general information about dam safety and what are the main principles of MYCOLD duty on dam safety issues, and to explain the MYCOLD action plan on dam safety. So, dams are numerous, more than around 60,000 large dams in the MYCOLD register, and of course there are more than that in the reality. On this map you can see the distribution of dams in the world. The colors refer to the height. The red is dams higher than 150 meters. Next. Dams are important and unique infrastructures, and they deal with very critical subjects as water, energy, flood control. Next, please. It is widely recognized that engineering failures and incidents provide valuable lessons and advance the state of practice. For many years, MYCOLD has developed and maintained a dam incident database. In 2021, MYCOLD Bulletin 99 was updated in a significant development. In September 2022, the MYCOLD board decided to make this database accessible on the MYCOLD website. MYCOLD has played a key role in the highly significant improvement in dam safety. As you can see on this sketch, in red is the failure ratio versus period of time. And you see that in the last century, we went from 2.2% to 0.12%. So a very big progress in dam safety records And I think that MYCOLD was a part in this success. However, the failure ratio versus age of construction increased after 2000, and this is not a good news. You can see this failure ratio, and on the axis, x-axis, it is the 25 years period of date of construction. And we can note that there is an increase in, please, back. I don't know why it, the previous one, please. Thank you. So you can see that there is a deterioration of the performance in the last years. What is the significance of these statistics? We will examine some significant cases of recent failures. Thank you. Next one. Tokwe Mukusi Dam, Zimbabwe, 2014, is a 90-meter-high CFRD dam with a reservoir capacity of 1.75 billion cubic meter. The reservoir filled up without its upstream facing, and you can see the result with water going through the embankment. The cause was a diversion tunnel undersized. Hopefully, no failure occurred, and the dam is currently on operation. Next. Ituango Dam, Colombia, May 2018, is a central core rockfill dam, 227 meter high, so a very high dam with a big reservoir of 2.7 billion cubic meter. The diversion tunnel was blocked by a landslide and fonte near the end of construction. Uncontrolled raising of the reservoir level occurred. To save the dam, it was accepted to discharge the flow by the power plant cavern. 1,000 cubic meter were flowed under 2,000 meter head in unprepared waterways. Next one, please. Before, yes. A speed race between the rise of the reservoir, 100 meters in a few days, and the rise of an emergency upstream embankment. As you can see, it is not the total section of the dam, it is only a partial upstream section. Finally, and by chance, the dam was saved. Next one. But my comment is that we went very close to a major failure, which have been terrible for our profession and dam industry in general. Another recent failure, Xepian Xenamnoi, not far from here, in Asia anyway, in July 2018. Failure of Saddle Dam D of a large electric scheme during the first filling. Xepian Xenamnoi Saddle Dam is an homogeneous dike, 16 meter high on a 16 or 17 meter lateritic foundation. No foundation treatment were provided. Next, please. Abnormal settlements were recorded before failure. No overtopping occurred. The cause of failure is regressive erosion in the pervious and erodible lateritic foundation. Next one. The total volume of the Xepian Xenamnoi reservoir was 1 billion cubic meter, and the released volume was 0.7, not 0.5, 0.7 billion cubic meter. It means that the failure of the Saddle Dam was completely equivalent to the failure of the main dam as far as the volume release is concerned. And it happens in a secondary valley where no emergency plan have been prepared. 140 casualties occurred and more than 12,000 people were affected. Next one, please. Sadorda Dam, Uzbekistan, May 2020. An embankment dam, 29 meters high, commissioned in 2017. The volume of reservoir was near 1 billion cubic meter, and the failure occurred during flood. There were severe transboundary issues. Few casualties were reported, but inundation and damage were very extensive. An emergency plan was activated, and 70,000 people were evacuated in Uzbekistan and 20,000 in Kazakhstan. All these failures occurred during construction or in the first years of operation, during first filling or first year of operation. Next failure, please. Yes. So it's not acceptable that in very large, very structured projects, we have such type of incidents. So we are wondering what is going wrong, what can we do to improve the situation. The following cases are related to another very important context, failure context. It is failure during flood. And this risk, of course, is increased by climate change. Next, please. For example, also very recent, Evansville Dam in the USA in May 2020 failed, not by overtopping, it failed, but it was filled very near to the crest, and this unprecedented level of reservoir caused static failure, static liquefaction failure. The dam broke, and second dam downstream was overtopped and also was destroyed. In Qingfa Dam, China, the failure was occurred by overtopping, and you see this just before failure, this photograph in July 2021, and this is also a case of cascade failure. A downstream dam failed also after this event. Igua Dam, Brazil, December 2021, also failed by overtopping, and it was a cascade. A second dam failed just downstream. Last is Annamaya Dam in India, November 2021, also during a failure during a flood. Next one, please. Next. Yes, this graph illustrates two important outcomes. First, the 5 years after construction are the most critical in the time life of a dam. And we have to take consequences from that. Second, the flood failures rate is not very sensitive to the age because it comes when a big flood is occurring. But we can say, we know that with climate change, floods will increase, and so we have to be prepared to that sort of incidents. MYCOLD mission statement. Now I will speak a little about the World Declaration on Dam Safety. MYCOLD mission statement says that MYCOLD leads the profession in setting standards and establishing guidelines to ensure that dams are built and operated safely, efficiently, economically, sustainable, and socially equitable. Dam safety is a core value of ICOL, is the core value of ICOL, I should say, since its foundation in 1928. Please, yeah. In 2019, ICOL issued a World Declaration on Dam Safety, that you can see the poster. Next. Next, please. What are the pillars of dam safety, according to this declaration? First, structural safety. The dam must be safe in normal operation and extreme condition, flood and earthquake. ICOL bulletins provide guidelines to address this structural safety. The second pillar is vigilance in surveillance and monitoring. It is of utmost importance to understand the behavior, the performance of the dam, to be prepared to maintain. Yes, thank you. Maintain the dam if something is going wrong. And the third one is emergency preparedness. It is roughly, it is said that if you have this type of plan, the losses of the victims, the casualties are divided by something like 10 times. So it is very important. We cannot be sure that no dam will fail, but we have to be sure that the less possible person will be affected. Next one. Another pillars of dam safety is sharing lessons of success and failure. It is of utmost importance that when we have dam incidents or accidents, it is largely published, and the Dam Safety ICOL Committee is working very hard on this, and this information go in the database accessible now to everybody. Also, national governance is essential. It is the first level of dam safety. Previous. Yes, thank you. National governance, and I appreciate a lot the efforts of Malaysia, who's recently stated a new framework of dam safety. Also, owner's responsibility. It should be clear for everybody that the owner is at the end responsible and liable for the dam safety. And also I mentioned a general trend in the dam community to go from traditional structural approach of dam safety to risk-informed decision-making. Next one. The main principle and issues of the declaration are, first, very important, safety criteria for existing dam are the same as for new dam. Of course, it's not evident to have this at once, but it is our effort to go to that by rehabilitation of the dam. Safety of tailing dams and mining dams are the same criteria as water dams. Safety of system also has to be considered. Cascades, transboundary jurisdiction, etc. Reservoir sedimentation has grown as a major concern in dam community, and it has impacts also on dam safety. Climate change impact has already been mentioned, and very important, and it has been straightened in our session in Asia 2023, regular operation and maintenance by skilled people is of utmost importance. Next one. Next, please. Also, we have to acknowledge the changing conditions of dam safety, the aging of existing infrastructure. United Nations University report in 2021 stressed this point. More and more emerging and developing countries are now building dams, and they may lack experience in dam safety management. The increasing participation of the private sector in dam business creates new governance conditions for dam safety. Climate change creates new natural hazards, flood, drought, typhoon, and so on. New dams must be built in more and more challenging sites, especially regarding geological conditions. Next one. Now some words about MYCOLD action plan for dam safety. One of the first action will be dissemination of the World Declaration on Dam Safety, and in a way it's what I am doing now, here. A didactic presentation of the World Declaration is prepared to be provided to the National Committee and to help them to disseminate the message. Dissemination of information on dam failures and incidents through the database on the MYCOLD website. Capacity building enhancement, and in partnership with international organizations, development banks, and every body that is prepared to that. Promotion of dam safety panel of experts for new dams projects and rehabilitation projects. And last, MYCOLD is thinking of preparing an MYCOLD list of certified experts. This has not been decided at the moment, but it is on the pipe. Next. So the key messages I would want you to retain from my speech are that first, dam safety is a core value, the core value to MYCOLD. Dam safety relies on a strong national governance of dam safety. At the other side, dam safety is a personal duty and sacred responsibility to dam engineers. Failures and incidents provide valuable lessons and advances. Dam safety management is a daily activity and also a long-term commitment for many generations. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Michelino, for your very interesting and informative presentation, sharing with us on the declaration on dam safety as well as the action plan in favor of the dam safety. We will continue with our second keynote speaker. Let me introduce Professor Dr. Ignacio Escudo Bueno. He is a full professor in hydraulic works at UPV Technical University of Valencia, Spain, and founding partner of iPrecis, a technology-based spin-off company from UPV founded in 2011. He has been chair of the International Commission on Large Dam Committee on numerical modeling of dam between 2011 and 2016, and president of the Spanish National Committee on Large Dam between 2017 and 2021. He has carried out work on safety studies, behavior modeling, or risk analysis of hundreds of dams worldwide. He's also developed natural risk governance strategies for private operators, government agencies, and other multilateral organizations, as well as dam portfolio risk assessment. He is the co-developer of iPrisa software tool for dam safety risk analysis and management, and he has been the co-author and also author of more than 150 publications, and he has been coordinator of the MYCOLD technical guide on risk analysis applied to the safety management of dam and reservoir, and the co-author of the ICO 13155 guidelines for use of numerical models in dam engineering. He has also led the development of the guide for the evaluation and management of risk associated with dam for the Central Water Commission of India in 2019. Without further ado, once again, I would like to welcome Professor Ignacio. Please come to the stage and deliver your keynote speech.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished authorities, Datin, Dr. Laria, and my dear President, Michelle Lino. It's a huge honor being in this opening session with such a company. I'm gonna have a hard time because I have some animations in the presentation, so I will be doing the next thing, and we need to be very coordinated. Anyhow, we will navigate this. So my talk is on the framework and the paradigm of risk analysis and how it serves to dam safety. Michelle Lino, our president of ICOL, mentioned it's one of the pillars of dam safety. And the beauty of it is that it serves as well to governance as to day-by-day activities. And that's what I'm going to try to navigate in my conference. Next, please. This is the outline I prepare. And after a very brief introduction, I will navigate through the use of risk indicators as guiders, drivers of dam safety investments. I will retake one of the topics that both the Secretary and the President of ICOL mentioned on the climate change, and I will add some other time-dependent issues. I will bring some international taste on how is it being applied in the world, including Malaysia, and I will make some final remarks. Next, please. What you see there is a graph that says how many times the word risk has been mentioned by any American journal in civil engineering. So you see that from that graph, before 1971, there was no risk. That's where I was born. And I was born in Spain, a country that would not hold more than 10 million people without large dams. And we welcome 100 million tourists per year with our water supply system. I realize that I built my own career, which I will not repeat because Dr. Laria made it very nicely, over that graph. Next, please, and next, please, next, please, next, please. One more. Stop. So it's a way to handle this. 1982, there was a major dam failure in Spain. It was 60 kilometers away from my home. I was 11-year-old. And as our president said, many lessons were learned from there. It had everything. There was a major flood, there was a failure in the power for the gates, there was some design problems, but that is the reason I'm here today. I've built my whole career, and Spain has become in the avant-garde of dam safety because of this failure, which of course we don't want anything like that to happen again, but we must learn from this accident. Next, please. From UPB, where I serve as professor, we created iPresas back in 2011. Except me, we are a very young team, and we work almost everywhere. And the lessons I'm bringing them from practical experience. It's not only a classical professor's PowerPoint. I hope to bring you some fresh insights from the field. Next, please. Well, it's important to mention that the world in the last 20 years has gone along a very nice way in building the dam safety, not only the dam safety principles, but the risk-informed decision-making. I'm bringing this example because it's very, in particular, very suitable to this conference. The Indian government, through the DRIP-1 project, developed 16 guidelines, including an overarching guideline that I had the pleasure to coordinate on risk analysis. And it made it very clear, as you see at the right side of the screen, that without day-by-day basic dam safety activities, there's no risk analysis. Either we have the pillars of dam safety in place, or whatever we do with some mathematical stuff or nice models will mean very little. And the way you incorporate your day-by-day activities to risk analysis is one of the milestones that will define if you succeed or you don't succeed in doing a good dam safety program. Next, please. I was hesitating to bring this slide, but at that time, the former Joint Secretary of State, Mr. Kundu, was hoping to use this impulse of the DRIP-1 to pass the bill on dam safety in India, and they finally made it in 2021. And he very nicely quoted something I talked to him in a conversation that we tend to associate innovation with high-tech algorithms and things like that. But legislation is a very nice way to promote innovation. There might be one little sentence in one law that ignites a full new discipline because it has been backed in law. So let's not forget that lesson either, that whenever we get our principles in law or in legal documents, we are also creating a big advance in our profession. Next, please. Multilateral organisms like Inter-American Bank of Development, they have developed guidelines, very recent guidelines. They started in 2007. The last update is 2021, and they acknowledge that they cannot support infrastructure, not only dams, but they cannot support infrastructure if they don't comply with the principles of disaster risk management and climate change adaptation. I've been working a lot for them in creating this body of knowledge for infrastructure, and we are learning many things. That's another big lesson. Risk assessment is not only for existing dams, it adds a great value from the design phase. And we've got multiple examples of that that I will try to bring by the end of the conference. Next, please. The World Bank, which is the mother of all multilateral organisms, has created a very nice set of publications and policy in the last 5 years. From basic potential mode analysis on how to develop this important task that, by the way, is what links engineering and risk. Failure mode analysis, which is well done, will incorporate the best engineering knowledge into the risk decision-making techniques. And in laying the foundations, the publications that mostly all of you will know, they recall on best practices all over the world. And they mention what the work that was done by the Spanish government back in 2010, and the use of risk indicators, and particularly the equity-weighted ACSLS. I will explain that later. It's kind of a long acronym. And how risk indicators are a good way to guide investments in dam safety. Next, please. Taking the issue of risk indicators, I have to go back to the Spanish guideline of 2012, where it was defined that the principles, the well-known principles on risk or in decision-making for dam safety are equity, social, and economic efficiency. And an equity-weighted adjust cost per statistical life kind of integrates the three major principles into the way to invest. I will show you an example. Next, please. Well, these are out of the many ones of them, just to give you I think it's been a long time since I don't use equations in a slide, but this must be my subconscious that brought some of them. It says if you divide the cost of your investment in dam safety, you detach the economic risk that you save, and divide it by how much you reduce the social risk, you have the first indicator. Then, if you weight it for how far are you from your target probability of failure, then you have this very complete indicator. Next, please. As an example, we had at the Pilot Duero Basin Authority in Spain, we had in the pipeline more than 90 actions to do in dam safety. We had to spend roughly 100 million euros to keep our dams safe. And we needed to choose what is the best route to do that. So you see in the y-axis, it is the total risk in the system. In the x-axis is how much are you investing. So you can see how concave the curve is. We, as researchers, we also like to check what would have been if somebody starts to invest blindly. I have to say that all the investments were suitable. It's just how we handle it on time, along the time. So you see, we run like 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations on how we would have gotten to the same place without the risk guidelines, and we got that whatever you do, whatever indicator you use on that is a risk indicator, will help you to be much closer to an optimum path. Next, please. We define how good is good. So we created an indicator of the goodness of your risk reduction path, and we checked many risk indicators, and we could see in that very large example that the equity-weighted ACSLS was very balanced in the three principles we wanted to achieve. We wanted equity, that means lowering probability of failure. We wanted efficiency, economic and social efficiency, and that was very efficient also when we plotted it against life risk and economic risk. Next, please. I know there's plenty of researchers in the room, so there are some papers that you can download that explain the use of, at a high level, of investment decision-making, of these risk indicators. These two papers kind of explain much better than me today what I was trying to communicate, but there's other papers. Next, please. And next, there should be some, there we are okay. Also, if you're interested in dealing on how to apply these techniques on systems of dams, or when you have a mixed systems of dams and levees, or where uncertainty might be affecting your path, we have developed a lot of research and practice on this that I kindly invite you to download and read. Next, please. Time-dependent issues. Time-dependent issues is climate change, and there are more things going on. We'll see more of them. You can imagine that the social dynamics, how people move to one place to another, the exposure behind our dams is one very strong factor together with climate change. I have to say that I believe that the risk framework is suitable, or the most suitable paradigm to incorporate the effects of climate change in dam safety for a number of factors. I will go through some of them. Next, please. When we incorporate climate change in our risk models, we understand things that, to me, I don't know in that screen, to me are clear in those graphs. We have the three scenarios of the climate change panel there, which we don't know exactly which one we will be closer to. That creates uncertainty in our predictions. But we can estimate the risk and the uncertainty, and we can allocate how much of the uncertainty is brought by the floods, or by the gate performance, or by the previous pool level. Remember, if in many systems, we might be having more extreme floods, but we might be having a lack of water resources, and sometimes the effects will compensate. Also, if you see the graph to the right, we used to think when we had our risk estimate, that was a fixed point. And that would be the darkest one in the very comfortable area in the graph. But with years, when we incorporate the effect of climate change and or other dynamics as population moving to one place to another, we have to accept that our risk is gonna be dynamic. And this graph can be taken in two ways. One way is scaring, no? I thought I was good. The other way is, that's about the time I have to prepare. And also, it will help us understand how often we have to repeat the analysis to incorporate the new knowledge that has been generated. So I don't say that's gonna happen in that dam, I say that's the best we can forecast with the data we have today, and we will keep working on that. But the important lesson is we have tools to get prepared on time, and we should be looking at those tools. Next, please. Time-dependent thing can be less mysterious than climate change. Everything takes time. We need not only to decide in what we invest, but what is the timeline of that? And some investments take years to approve and put in place. Some others are very fast, and we need to incorporate the variable T in our equation. We were happier 20 years ago when we were thinking in a more static vision of risk. This is an example of regional government in Spain. We've worked them for many years. I think I had presented some pre-results in Ottawa when MYCOLD conference. And next, please. You see that they went through a path over a number of years. The dams are not that high, but they are very significant. They are very useful in terms of water supply, and they have all plenty of problems. I wouldn't call them pathologies, but at least major problems. Next. And now, when we analyze them, we go through all the process, we do the failure mode analysis, we do some quantitative risk analysis, then we find a list of to-dos like that. And I can tell you there, some of them are implemented, some of them are ongoing, and some of them are planned. But this cannot be a static picture of the plan, because we will be gathering new information, we will be having problems in implementing some of the actions, we will have delays, and we will have things that we will have windows of opportunities that we cannot renounce to do. If we have an opportunity to do something, we are not going to say, just wait a second, I'm the two more behind in the list, right? So we have to incorporate all that flexibility in our management. Next, please. We have our envisioned risk reduction path. This is using the Bureau of Reclamation tolerability guidelines. So you probably, most of you are used to see that to the right and to the top is the higher risk, and to the left and to the bottom is the lower risk. And this is the envision plan, but we have to be ready to be flexible and changing it, because this is a 20-year plan. This is not a one-month plan. Next, please. It includes design of the rehabs, and yes, we can use risk to make our design as accurate as possible. In this case, we use risk to decide how much we had to lower the crest of that spillway. Next, please. And we have incorporated the variable T in our tools to allow owners to re-estimate the path of risk reduction when they gather new information, for instance, from instrumentation, or new estimates on climate change, or, as I said before, something as simple as, I have the opportunity to do this thing first, and how does it affect my risk reduction path? I think in the workshop we had yesterday, we calculated many of these paths, and some of you that were there yesterday will appreciate this in a different manner. So at the end, the tools we are providing today have risk, have investments, but also have a timeline, and allows you to re-evaluate your path of investments according to better knowledge or these different realities around your dam and environment. Next, please. You can also dig in it in papers and all them in index journals, and I encourage particular young researchers at Universiti to go through this, but also professionals to, hopefully, they will be inspiring or provide some little light in this complex problem. Next, please. Some international examples, because if you don't show what you do in the field, it's what I call, I think I said that yesterday also in the workshop, it's a PowerPoint dam safety presentation, but it's not real dam safety practice if it's only in the PowerPoint. So we can escalate the intensity and the complexity of the different tools. This is, for instance, Brazil. We use a screening type of tool, and regardless, screening risk analysis is not suitable to make big decisions. It was very useful to organize the information, to understand what were the general pathologies of the dams, and it enforced many other actions in a significant number of dams that we could visit, and we calculate the so-called risk indexes for them. Next, please. India, as I mentioned, and Davandra, I think, is there. I think India must be very proud of what they have achieved in these last years. And we had the opportunity to do a full pilot case that has been incorporated in the Indian guidelines. And we studied Bhadra Dam. We provided what we thought could be a risk reduction path, but also what would be the most efficient gathering of new information. For instance, if the uncertainty is brought by hydrology, and you were thinking in major investments in spillways, you have to balance between gathering information and make sure you do a no-regret type of investment. Next, please. Argentina. We were here back 2016. This dam is one of the most beautiful systems I've seen in my life. It's in the middle of Patagonia, and it has a main channel and two collateral artificial lakes. And it has been designed for a PMF, but in the last decade, two very close floods to the PMF had come. As close that there's significant doubts that the PMF is the real PMF. So we had to understand how could the system fail. I think we defined the longest failure mode we've ever defined in overtopping, because we had to accomplish for what happens in the main channel, what goes to the lateral natural lake, the other dam. But most important, if you see the dots to the right, and this was presented by the regulatory organism of Argentina in the MYCOLD Vienna Congress in 2018, there is a way by improving gate reliability and changing the operation and using a new dam that will be built the upstream for flood protection to really put the system in a very comfortable area. Next, please. I'm finishing. Malaysia. Malaysia and TMB, GENCO, and Uniten are doing a very ambitious work. They used 4 of the dams to navigate all what I have said in my conference so far, from a screening tool to a risk assessment that can be potentially used in any other dam, and creating a risk-informed process. I have to say that it is very ambitious, but it's kind of what I don't want to call it mainstream, because that's like lowering it, but it's what, after everything has been backed by the World Bank, the IDB, so many ICOL committees and bulletins, This is theoretically mainstream. In practice, there's a long way to go. And Malaysia has taken a significant lead in this. And I have to acknowledge and appreciate that. Next. So, again, final remark. They are using risk without acknowledging that it has to be linked to good practice in dam safety. So everything around classical and the pillars of dam safety are integrated in the risk-informed framework. From emergency preparedness to safety reviews, all is fitting the risk-informed framework. Next, please. Spain, full-scale national dam scheme. I will not take much time on this, but the government is doing it for 370 dams at the same time and in 4 years. So it's a very big challenge. Next, please. In which is very similar to what I said about the Malaysian approach, in which there's qualitative assessment, quantitative assessment, and 2 cues of investment. The investment in knowing more and gathering better knowledge, and the investment in rehab. And the 2 cues have to coexist properly and with periodic updates. Next, please. This is the ambitious plan. That's to show that this wasn't just PowerPoint type of presentation. It should be accomplished by the end of next year. Next and last, please. I think we often forget about the people. You don't make this happen overnight. You need people to do the assessments, you need trained people, you need smart people, and you need motivated people. How you get that? That doesn't happen because you want it. It needs a plan. And it's an amazing challenge, but it's the best of the risk-informed process, is how you engage people in the dam safety. So next, please. I wanted to finish with this picture of the team in Malaysia, the wonderful people that we've been working with, and I'm very grateful to all of you for the opportunity and hope you enjoyed the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datin. I'm sure our participants find the sessions informative and mind-blowing. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for tea break, so let's wind down for a quick 10 minutes. We shall now usher our distinguished guests for tea break. To all participants, it will be a great pleasure to have you return to this room in 10 minutes. Thank you very much, everybody. See you again. So dear guests, welcome back to our keynote session. Now I would like to invite Insinyur Polycarp Wong Hyang Fui, Vice President 3 of Malaysian National Committee on Large Dams, MYCOLD, to introduce our keynote speakers for the second session. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to Insinyur Polycarp Wong Hyang Fui.
Good afternoon. Welcome back from your break. dam failure, by extension, dam safety is such exciting topic. We will continue with the exciting vibes. I have the pleasure to introduce the next keynote speaker, Mr. Devendra K. Sharma. He has 41 years of experience in the water resource and energy sectors in India and abroad. He is the chairman of Himachal Pradesh Electricity Regulatory Commission from September 2020 onwards. He is a member of the National Security Advisory Board, Government of India since January 2021. He is also an expert member of the National Committee on Dam Safety and also an expert member in the Dam Design Review Panel of the mega project Polavaram Multipurpose Irrigation Project. He has served as the chairman of the prestigious Braka BS Management Board, Ministry of Power, Government of India, from April 2017 to July 2020. As chairman of the BBMB, he was responsible for managing assets of national importance. Throughout his career, he has been associated with construction, planning, design, and operation and maintenance of dams in India. Mr. Sharma is the Vice President of the International Commission on Large Dam, MYCOLD. He is the chairman of Asia Pacific Group of 28 countries of the International Commission on Large Dams, where his focus is to turn this world's economic powerhouse into a knowledge hub in the field of dam engineering. He is also a member of MYCOLD Committee on Sedimentation of Reservoirs. He has received a number of national and international awards. He is a fellow of the Institute of Engineers, India as well. So, with pleasure, I would invite Mr. Sharma to give his keynote address. Thank you.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here this evening and speak to you about the dam safety experiences in India we have. And I'll also focus on the recent act we have in India about the Dam Safety Act and what are the features of this act. Okay, so like as you're aware, the largest number of dams in the world are in China, followed by United States, and third number is India. So we have about 5,700 large dams. It's not working. Okay. Well, we have about 2% of land sources, 4% of water, and 18% of the world's population. So there's a big challenge to provide water security to 18% of the population in the world. Next. Okay. There are about 5,700 dams in India, and the largest number comes from the western part of the country and the central part, Maharashtra, followed by Madhya Pradesh, followed by Gujarat. See, the numbers are there in the central and western India, whereas the large dams are in the Himalayas. Up, the numbers are small, but the capacity of dams is very large, the dams which are located in Himalayas. As Michelino was also saying, the dams are aging, and we have about 297 dams which are more than 100 years of age, about 1,050 dams which are 50 years to 100 years age, and about 3,000 dams which are between 25 to 50 years of age. So the dams are aging very fast, and we need to act on the dam safety in a big way. See, we have the dams which are 2 centuries old. See, in the 2nd century, we have the oldest Thanjavur Dam, which is still working. We have the dam which was constructed in 10th century. It is also working, and another dam which was constructed in 1892 in Mumbai is still under operation. Next. Another Dhampur Dam, which is also recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Irrigation Structure in the year 2020, was constructed in the year 1530. Mir Arlam Dam was constructed in the year 1804. This dam is the buttress dam, multiple arch was buttress dam, but you can see the spillway. In 1800 even, the spillways were designed to pass the maximum flood, which is a unique design. And I remember in the year 1985 somewhere, we started saying in India that we have a duckbill spillway, and which was redesigned to pass the higher flood. Thank you. We have another Borgua Tal Dam, which is 1694, and was constructed then Maharaja of the state. Next. Sorry. Okay. See, like the dam safety initiatives. Well, the dam safety is something which is an ongoing process. You can't do it in a day. You have to focus it on long-term basis and need concentrated efforts. If you think that I'll do dam safety in a year, I'll do it in 2 years, we are mistaken. We have to make it a way of life and has to inculcate into the system. We started first with the dam safety, first conference of the State Ministers of Irrigation in New Delhi in 1975, and they adopted a resolution regarding dam safety, which read as, the conference recommended that in view of increasing large dams in India, the Government of India to constitute an advisory dam safety services to be operated by Central Water Commission. That was the year when I think I was studying in high school and was about to enter the engineering college. I entered an engineering institute in the year 1976. So you can imagine that our efforts, we started working in that direction about 48 years back. Well, then in the year 1979, there was a failure, big failure, a Machu Dam failure in Gujarat, and which I think about 1,800 people lost their lives. And this failure, immediately with that, taking a lesson from that, we started with Central Dam Safety Organization established, and the objective was to assist in identifying causes of potential distress, perform a coordinative and advisory role for the state governments, lay down guidelines, compile technical literature, organizing training, etc., to create awareness in the states about dam safety. The limitation was there was no legal framework, and this Central Dam Safety Organization virtually had no power of enforcement. They were an advisory body, and they kept on telling something which was not enforceable. That was the drawback. Next. Well, Central Water Commission then encouraged the states to have their dam safety organizations, and immediately 18 states and some Government of India organizations followed and started working on it. Again, there was no uniformity in administrative setup or functions of these dam safety organizations. In majority of the cases, the role of dam safety organization was restricted to advisory capacity with little scope for proactive intervention in dam safety and rehabilitation measures. Next. Well, keeping that in mind, we started working on, in the year 1991, on the dam safety for our dams, and we rehabilitated about 33 dams. And banking upon that success, we thought, why not to take it up in a big way? And in the year 2012, we started dam rehabilitation and improvement project. And this was a 10 years plan, and it was over in 2021. Then the phase 2 of the project was started in October 2021. And we also came up with Dam Safety Act in December 2021. This act has been debated almost for 3 decades. It was debated in number of times in Indian Parliament, and the question was that how the states and the federal structure should have the division of powers, and how very delicately the act should not impinge upon the powers of the state governments. Well, as I told you, in the year 1979, we had a major dam failure. So far we have recorded 42 reported failures in India, dam failures in India. 6 are the masonry dams and 36 are embankment dams. These embankment dams were the old dams which were constructed when they were not designed properly, most of them. As President Michel Lino also told, most of the dam failures, they take place between 0 to 5 years of age, and in this case also, out of 42, 19 dams failed between the age of 0 to 5 years. And dams of, like, mostly the 44% of the dams, the breaching failure was due to flooding, and 25% due to overtopping, piping, and bad workmanship, 14%. So this dam failure was something which we, like for a nation like India, wherein we have a large number of these dams, so we thought why not to come up with a structured enforceable act, wherein people are held responsible for their acts and deeds. Next. Safety, you see, like I picked up this picture from somewhere, from the net. See, it means security from the risk or threat of significant loss or injury to life, health, property, and environment. See, like people are not cautious about the safety, and that is how we start working. And safety assurance means all planned and systematic actions necessary to afford adequate confidence that a functional system achieves acceptable or tolerable safety limit. In this case, see, like the girl in the photograph is assured that, okay, it is being done in a structured fashion and she is in safe hands. So we started, as I told you, we started phase 1 of our dam rehabilitation and improvement project. Next. See, the objective is to improve safety, operational performance of selected dams along with institutional strengthening with a system-wide management approach. The amount spent was about $350 million. 223 dams located in 7 Indian states were rehabilitated. Like there were different components, and supervision was carried out under Central Water Commission. Okay. The key achievements of this was that the efforts were joint efforts of central and state government, and this was one of the confidence building measures. The states, Indian states, they thought that the government of India is coming forward under DRIP program and has helped them in a big way. We carried out institutional strengthening, rehabilitation of 33 plus 223 dams on structural and non-structural measures, environmental emergency action plan, O&M manuals were prepared for these dams. Capacity building was carried out through trainings and workshops. As Professor Ignacio told, we had guidelines for 11 guidelines related to dam safety aspects, and also we started long-term assets management through web-based tools known as Dam Health and Rehabilitation Monitoring Application. We started the MTech program in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and in Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. Enhancing seismic preparedness through seismic hazard assessment information system. That was also carried out. Okay, the phase 2 and 3 program, it's a 10-year program, and it covers, it's more ambitious compared to the first one, and covers 736 dams in 19 Indian states and 3 Government of India agencies. It's a 10-year program with each phase 2 of 6 years and phase 3 of 6 years, and 2 years overlap between phase 2 and 3. Now I'll talk to you about Dam Safety Act, which is the core of the dam safety in India. It was in the year December 2021 that we enacted this act, and the purpose is to provide for surveillance, inspection, operation and monitoring, maintenance of the specified dams for prevention of dam failure related disaster, and to provide for institutional mechanism to ensure their safe functioning and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. So it has 11 chapters, 56 clauses and 3 schedules. Next. This is the Gazette notification. Next. So institutional mechanism under the Dam Safety Act, the topmost body is National Committee on Dam Safety, and it's the advisory body which has policy decision. It sets the policies and also guidelines how the dam safety is to be carried out, and I'm happy to share with you. I'm one of the members in this committee, and we have 2 expert members, and I'm one of them. We have National Dam Safety Authority. Authority is which enforces the law. The National Committee is advisory body, but the highest body. It advises the National Dam Safety Authority. Authority enforces the law. Then at the state government level, we have State Committee on Dam Safety, State Dam Safety Organization, and ultimately the Dam Safety Unit is the owner. Ownership is where all responsibility lies. Next. This act applies to all specified dams. Specified dams, as you know, the large dams which are covered above 15 meters of height, measured from the lowest foundation level, and dams between 10 to 15 meters. There are different criteria for that, and length of crest is not less than 500 meters. Capacity of reservoir formed by the dam is not less than 1 million cubic meter. Maximum flood discharge is dealt with by the dam is not less than 2,000 cubic meter per second. Dam has specifically difficult foundation problems. Dam is of unusual design. D and E are something subjective, where the engineers can decide that, okay, their dam has difficult problems, so it also should be termed as a specified dam. And similarly, for unusual design, also is something unusual. There's nothing, you can't call a dam having unusual design, but some dam has, these days dams are being constructed under difficult situation. So for that also it is included in under the specified dams. Next. These are the different chapters under the Dam Safety Act. Next. This is how the entire institutional arrangement takes place. It is the National Committee on Dam Safety which gives the policy guidelines to the National Dam Safety Authority. It has subcommittees which are the policy, decides on policy issues. Then these subcommittees also produces the written documents on different aspects of dam safety. Dam Safety Authority is answerable to Ministry of Jal Shakti, which is water resources, and the ministry in turn is answerable to the Indian Parliament. So the National Dam Safety Authority is assisted by Government of India, central government, and the university research institutions. So similarly, Dam Safety Authority, it interacts with state dam safety organizations, and state dam safety organizations also interact with different research institutes. Next. What are the challenges? It's very difficult to implement things. As I told in the beginning, it looks good that we have an act, but enforcing this act for 5,700 dams is not an easy task. It's a big challenge. And one, we have expertise at the national level. There's a lot of expertise available, but when it flows down to each individual dam, I would agree that there's lack of expertise in dam owners' agencies, especially in the states, and they lack with the flood hazard mapping, advanced hydraulic simulations, quantitative risk assessment, capacity and expertise of state dam safety organizations to assume their new role. See, we adopted this act in the year 2000, December 2021, and they have their limitations with this expertise, the state government especially. We need to do a lot of work to create this expertise at state dam safety organizations level. Capacity and expertise of owners, operators to enforce Dam Safety Act is limited. Trainings are required on long-term basis, long-term sustainability of intended objectives. Next. Next, please. Separation of roles and strengthening of state dam safety organizations. It's very important. In the state governments, the same person is in the dam safety organization and same person is implementing the dam sometimes. So it's very important that there are distinct roles in the state governments, which is quite a challenge. But I think slowly we have been able to establish this system, and the roles between the owners, operators, and regulators at the state government levels have been well defined, and it is being enforced that these have to be different from each other. Reservoir siltation, yes, it's a big problem, and I remember when I was a young engineer, it was being told it's a typical Asian problem, but now the entire world says it's a big problem. And well, I have experience of carrying out sedimentation, mechanical dredging also. It's not a solution that we carry out mechanical dredging. It's not cost effective at all. It's very expensive. So we need to work on the silt management rather than carrying out mechanical dredging. And sedimentation rate in India is quite high, and it's 0.72% sedimentation rate per year. And till date, we have lost about 32 billion cubic meter of the capacity. Instrumentation and monitoring, another area where either in the earlier dams, instruments were not installed. If they were installed, they are not functioning in most of the dams which were constructed in earlier days. Next. Climate change. See, the climate change uncertainties are building up, and we need to even probably redesign our codes. The standard guidelines and code of practices need to be modified to cater to the climate change uncertainties. We also need to redesign the spillway capacities. In many cases we have done, but it's very difficult to do that, and seasonal and annual variation in rainfall pattern is affecting it in big way, and we have seen uncertainties in many rivers where we have many lives were also lost. Dedicated funds for dam safety is another thing. Although the state governments are now coming forward because it's their responsibilities, they are coming forward to provide these funds. Next. Next, please. Dam designs. See, like 200, about 300 dams are more than 100 years old, and the drawings for these dams are not existing. So if you have to carry out any remedial measures, rehabilitation measures, you are lost in the dark. You do not know what has been done in these dams. So that's another challenge where we need to work, and we are working on it. Reverse engineering, they say. I'm told I need to bind up. I'll do it fast. Next, please. Yes, next year, India is organizing this 97th annual meeting of International Commission on Large Dams. It's in New Delhi from 18th to 24th October. I invite all of you to visit New Delhi, to visit India, to visit the beautiful places in New Delhi, and share your expertise with us. And also, we would want that whatever little we have done in the field of dam safety, we share with the rest of the world. Next. Looking forward to the World Dam Professionals and MYCOLD family to join 92nd MYCOLD annual meeting and symposium from 18th to 24th October in a big way in New Delhi to enjoy the Indian hospitality. Thank you.
Can you please remain on stage?
It is again my pleasure to introduce our fourth keynote speaker. He is Dato Engineer Dr. Muhammad Nasir Muhammad Noor, who is the Director General of the Department of Irrigation and Drainage, DID Malaysia, Ministry of Environment and Water. He has served the department for more than 30 years, specializing in river and engineering, water quality and flood management, and published over 30 academic papers. Internationally, he was named chairman of the ASEAN Senior Government Officer Working Group on Integrated Water Resources Management, Vice President for Network Asian River Basin Organization, and co-chairman of International Association for Hydro Environment World Congress. He was also appointed as panel expert on coastal reservoir at the University of Wollongong, Australia, and established UNESCO Chair on Water, Energy, and Disaster Management for Sustainable Development, Kyoto University. So let's give a big welcome to Dato Engineer Dr. Muhammad Nasir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Yang bahagia Datin Profesor Engineer Dr. Larih binti Muhammad Siddiq, Chairman of Second International Conference on Dam Safety, Management and Engineering, and Co-President of Malaysian National Committee of Large Dam, MYCOLD, His Excellency Mr. Michel Lino, President of International Commission of Large Dams, ICOL, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and conference participants. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. First, I would like to thank the Second International Conference on Dam Safety Management and Engineering 2023 for inviting me. It gives me a great pleasure to be with you this afternoon. We are going to share what implementation of my dams, Malaysian Dam Safety Management Guidelines. We begin briefly explaining the water scenario in Malaysia and highlighting what the government initiative to ensure dam safety. The implementation of my dam since 2018 will be covered next, along with issues, challenges, success story, as well as way forward. There's a total of 84 billion cubic meter of water. Approximately 70% of Malaysian water resources are stored in dams. Hence, ensuring that dams in this country operate optimally and in safe condition is very, very crucial. As a developing nation, we face various issues, challenges to ensure water safety. During certain periods of each year, we receive heavy rains or continuous rains where the dams are at full capacity, poses risk and resulting in floods when the water overflows. Recently, we have quite a flood event when we release water from 3 dams in south of the country. However, contradictory, during certain period of each year, we have too little water, reduction in rainfall causing shortage of water in our dams, which further causing shortage of water supply. Our dams are constructed of various purposes, including flood mitigation, irrigation, water supply, hydropower, silt retention, and recreational. Hence, efficient management of dam operations will reduce the risk of flood and water shortage in both situations when there are too much or too little water. Malaysia has 104 dams in total, and most of the dams are water supply. What 62 number there? Dams in the country are managed either under the federal government, state government, or private ownership. Most of the dams are over 50 years old, and some are over 100 years old. The challenges we have actually how to multi-purpose these dams, because most of it single function. See? And years ahead, we are thinking how to make it multi-purpose. Fortunately, since 1883, there has never been a dam disaster in Malaysia. However, as a dam age, we are faced with the reality that we need to address their status from safety perspective. For the record, Malaysia has seen a number of incidents related to dam safety in recent years. For example, recent event at Chereh Dam in Pahang and Kenyir Dam in Terengganu recently give a clear signal that dam safety aspects of dams are urgently needed to improve at every level of management. By their very nature and pose risks, although these risks may be minimal, without proper maintenance, they might rise significantly. Dam requires effective management and supervision to ensure its safety. In order to ensure the functionality of a dam, it's necessary to look at the safety aspect of the reservoir area as a whole. Since 2013, We have been putting policies in places, implemented initiatives and approaches to prevent occurrences like this from occurring, and to ensure that the risk does not result in property damage and fatalities from dam burst. A year after that, 2014, the government established a special committee on dam safety structures at the federal administration to monitor the level of safety and operation of dams in this country. This committee then formed a task force called Flying Squad, like mentioned by the Secretary General, to immediately assess the level of safety and maintenance of 41 high-risk dams. Through this committee also recommends that all large dams are required to have a proper EAP, Emergency Action Plan, to ensure that all dams have clear SOP, standard operation procedures during emergency preparation. Operators on duty must have a thorough knowledge, skills, and understanding in handling dam operations. All these government initiatives align with United Nations 2020 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, for safety and clean water resources. Next is a novel initiative that My Dams will introduce. The Malaysia Dam Safety Management Guidelines, implemented since September 2017. The guideline is aligned with the government decision on 12th National Water Resources Council meeting in 2017. It provides framework to the management of dam safety and guidelines for development and implementation of dam safety practices throughout Malaysia. The dam management in Malaysia is facing challenges, including aging infrastructure, like we said, most is more than 50 years old, climate change and lack of technical experts. We also need more commitment and understanding between the federal and state governments. And there is a lack of actually related law. Actually, we need a law, but it's not implemented yet. All these challenges need to be resolved as effectively as feasible based on technical guidelines such as My Dams and joint coordination between jurisdictions of federal and state governments. Experiences from other countries such as from Indonesia, India, can also be used as an example for us to learn. Over the course of My Dam 5 years implementation, numerous issues have surfaced. One of the key problems is the lack of allocation for maintenance works, particularly from the state government. The state government also deals with the lack of technical expertise in solving rising technical problems. As a result, the technical issues cannot be accurately identified at the initial stage of the problem and require time to fix it. And for dams more than 50 years old, the operator's capacity to monitor safety is restricted by the lack of original documents, such as the design reports. The main thing that all dams owners need to pay attention is to ensure that the monitoring and maintenance work, especially for the continuity of the dam records and database for future reference, especially when the flying squad inspect. It is important to document potential impacts of operations on public issues, environment, and other stakeholders. Proper record of data is capable to improve decision-making process related to dam safety and operation in various conditions. For emergency preparedness, all dams must have complete Emergency Action Plan, EAP. To the requirements set by My Dams, the percentage of dams in Malaysia with good EAP at this moment has increased from 35% 2015 to 65% 2021. Pre-planned coordination of necessary action by dam owners through emergency drills is very important. A good EAP obviously timely notification, warning, and evacuation in the event of emergency, reducing risk of fatalities and property damages. The design, construction, operation, maintenance, and surveillance of dams are all intended to minimize the risk of future dam failures. Therefore, it is important for dam owners to consistently identify conditions of the dams at all times. In order to improve the efficiency of dam operators, the government collaborates with Malaysia Commission on Large Dam, MYCOLD, to organize a certified dam safety inspector course. In 2021, the first group of 30 participants received certification. The course was organized and with the cooperation and expertise from Ventura, Australia. The course received a favorable response from various dam-related agencies, especially dam engineers involved in dam safety flying squad. The course also provides detailed technical inspection program for the elements of implementation of dam safety programs. It covers a consideration of different types of dams, including earth-fill dams, rock-fill dams, concrete dams, and composite dams, and related structures. Inspection and assessment of dams provide comprehensive instruction in inspection and evaluation techniques. The courses also covered the important components, including inspection, monitoring, surveillance, and reporting on dam safety. Today, the dinner session features the Certified Dam Safety Inspector Award ceremony tonight. The commitment from the state government in making the agenda and action plan related to dam safety success is also very crucial. It's greatly welcome that the state government is working with us to address the issue of encroachment in the dam catchment area. The ministry will keep watching and working with the state administration in order to ensure that the dam may be gazetted for public interest in terms of security and water resources. Meanwhile, the state government also needs to ensure that the expertise of dam operators improve and the collection of dam operation data is well recorded. Like other nations, Malaysia faces challenges to develop special legislation pertaining to dam safety. However, before this law is established, it is necessary to first clarify the coordination of responsibilities between federal and state governments. Empowering my dams under an existing parent law to create legal authority for the guidelines is a step under consideration. The approach of using the existing platform in highlighting this issue, especially dam owners, especially dams owned by the state government for attention and action is the shortest way possible. Therefore, further engagement sessions with state water regulatory bodies will continue to be organized for exposure and awareness in regards of dam safety. The federal government, dams under the federal government and state government, and dams under the state government are the four key stakeholders that need to be regarded in institutional arrangement. The federal government's primary objective in this project is to regulate the safety and security issues related to construction, operation, and management of dams. Meanwhile, matters related to rivers, water, and land, including activities and utilization of such land, are largely within the jurisdiction of state government. By referring to the recent development of the Dam Safety Act, institutional arrangement in India, Malaysia can learn the initial challenges and obstacles faced by the Indian government. It took them a sustained effort in the last 4 decades before the Dam Safety Act 2021 was enacted by the Parliament in December 2021. The Act provides, as presented just now, for surveillance inspection, operation and maintenance for all large dams, and, as mentioned, for more height than 15 meters. The objective of my dams are to ensure that the management of dams in Malaysia is systematically and effectively implemented. The integrity of dam safety is in place and that the dams are functioning as per design. The ministry has put an effort to ensure that all our dams are maintained in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner and operate in accordance with my dams. Currently, the government under DID is progressively working on updating my dams guidelines with the latest international best practices and input from local dam industry players. And to conclude my keynote, I'd like to highlight 5 important points that all stakeholders must follow to ensure full compliance with my dam's guidelines for efficient dam management in Malaysia. Number 1 is responsibility. My dam is the first step of federal initiative in establishing responsibilities. Next is cooperation. State and federal government cooperation is crucial in establishing effective management and safety of all the dams. The third one is regulation. This is the first step to institutionalize dam safety management in addressing risks posed by dams. And the fourth one is challenges, the changes which are addressed for the management behaviors to ensure dam safety in every change and development of dams. And finally, this number 5, the expertise. This must create dual capacity building from time to time to accelerate and balance the risk that should occur when the climate change comes. With that, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the name of Allah, I conclude my keynote today. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon again. It is with the greatest pleasure I introduce our next speaker. He is Mr. Satoru Oeda. Mr. Satoru Oeda is the lead dam specialist of the World Bank, serving as its global focal point of dam safety since 2013. He has more than 35 years of global experience in planning, design, and safety review of large dams, as well as water resources development and management. Since Satoru joined the World Bank in 1998, he has contributed to more than 200 operations in water resources, irrigation, hydropower, and flood management, out of which more than 100 dam-related projects in over 60 countries. He has also played a key role in developing and implementing World Bank's dam safety-related policies and knowledge products, including the Good Practice Note on dam safety under the Environmental and Social Framework, along with 7 associated technical notes, and laying the foundations, a global analysis of regulatory frameworks for the safety of dams and downstream communities. Before joining the World Bank, he worked for designing and supervising water resources development and flood management projects, including multi-purpose dams, and conducting safety reviews of dams in Japan under the River Bureau of Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transportation. Dam Department, which is part of the Dam Department of Public Works Research Institute and Japan Dam Engineering Center. Satoru holds master's degree from the University of Tokyo and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Let's give him a big hand. welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and my dear colleagues. It is my great pleasure and honor to be here to introduce the dam safety at the World Bank. Since I think some of you are not necessarily familiar with the World Bank's activities for dam-related projects, I would like to first quickly introduce this World Bank-funded dam-related project portfolio and trends, and then followed by the introduction of Bank's knowledge products related to dams and the storage, and then finally I'm going to introduce the main findings and recommendation of the global analysis of regulatory framework for the safety of dams and downstream communities. Okay, the historical summary of the World Bank engagements between fiscal years 2003 and 2023. The World Bank financed 430 projects involving dams for hydropower, water supply, irrigation, and flood control, and involving more than 2,400 dams, and with total commitment of around nearly 60 billion US dollars. The left chart indicates the distribution of the projects by region. On top, Africa East, and then East Asia Pacific, and South Asia. And in the middle, the distribution of projects by sector or purpose, irrigation, hydropower, water supply, and so forth. And then on the right, the distribution of projects by the bank's project intervention. And on top, rehabilitation and upgrading of existing dams, and dam safety, and greenfield projects, and so forth. Okay, this slide shows a portfolio of bank-funded projects involving dams, including active projects and also projects in pipeline. As you see, the total number of the projects is more than 200, which involves more than 1,200 dams. The total commitment of the bank is around 40 billion US dollars. And then the bottom left, here not the number of the project, but number of associated dams, the distribution by region. And on top, East Asia and the Pacific, followed by South Asia and Africa East. And in the middle, the number of dams, associated dam distribution by type. On top, irrigation, and then water supply, hydropower. And on the right, the number of dams, distribution by bank's project intervention, and on top, rehabilitation and upgrading of existing dams, and the planning and the technical assistance for future project preparation, and so forth. Now that I'm going to show you two slides regarding the historical trends of first in the greenfield project, and in the next slide, in the existing dam, the rehabilitation. And with up and down depending on year, you can see some general increasing trend of the contribution, the commitments to greenfield project. And the right map indicates the location of those projects with different color for different primary purpose, as in the legend. Oops. Okay, this slide shows the historical trends of the, no, sorry, it's not easy to handle this. Existing dams, rehabilitation and upgrading, and you can see more clearly the increasing trends of the bank's contribution to such type of projects. And again, their locations are indicated in the map with the different colors for different purposes. Okay, with background of our increased efforts and the contribution to dams-related projects across sectors, the bank has recently issued a report
what the future has in store. And this is a global storage report called for system-based approach to storage planning and operation, covering both built and natural storage, with an emphasis on sediment management. And this report defines 5 main concepts or 5 R's. And first, raise new dams or storage capacity. And second, rehabilitate existing dams and for dam safety and wider asset management, restoring function of existing dams, and the reoperate of existing dams for meeting new multi-purpose needs, optimizing operation for enhanced service delivery, and so forth. And retrofitting and some new facilities and the functions to existing dams, such as advanced inflow forecasting, a low-level outlet, and so forth for enhanced reservoir operation. And lastly, reform the policy and the institutions to better plan and manage storage. This slide shows the typology of existing dams, retrofitting and reoperation. On the left column, for contribution to green growth, renewable energy and improved water supply, flood control and climate change, resilience, and in the middle, the types of interventions, including enhancing performance of existing asset and adding functionality to existing asset. And for opportunities for renewable energies, and adding originally designed but non-materialized hydropower generation system, or increased hydropower generation capacity, adding other renewable energy generation, such as low-head mini at small hydro to existing irrigation dams, or installing floating solar to existing storage, and so forth. And for water supply, increasing water supply yield, reliabilities to enhancing storage volume and operation. And also it's there for flood control and climate resilience, enhancing the flood storage volume and operation with the aid of advanced hydromet and flood forecasting system and decision support system for optimal reservoir operation, and so forth, and increasing resilience against the flood by installing additional spillway using the piano key weirs, fuse gates, and so forth, and adding the protection against the protection for embankment structures using RCC or this cement mixed materials, and so forth. I really need a training for this. Oops. Okay, before going into the knowledge project, a product related to dams, I'm going to introduce more knowledge products and the contribution to dams and hydro. And the bank has issued a guidance note for sustainable sediment management on top left. And then the bank has also made a significant contribution, technical inputs for IHH to prepare this hydropower sector climate resilience guide. And then the bank has also prepared 2 reports related to hydropower sustainability assessment and tools based on their application to bank-funded project, and summarizing our observations and recommendations. And at the bottom, we have also developed some mixed reality and virtual reality tools to enhance the information sharing, more or awareness raising for dams operation on left-hand side, using this dams operational room, and then on the right, dam break and emergency preparedness. It's maybe difficult to see, okay, but I put the link to those the applications, so you can download from the World Bank App Store for these tools. Okay, here just the more dam safety-related knowledge products, and as already introduced, we have prepared and issued a good practice note on dam safety and associated several technical notes under the World Bank Environmental Social Framework. They're incorporating the more risk management or risk-informed approach with due consideration to proportionality concept and the tiered approach. And also we have issued laying the foundation, a global analysis of regulatory framework for the safety of dams and the downstream communities, along with a concise policy note and also standalone report for decision supported tool introduction. And this time I'm going to introduce the main findings and recommendation from the second one, just laying the foundation. Okay, as we have seen, the greater number of this aging dams in the world, we have conducted this analysis so that we can provide their technical support for client countries to assess and also discuss how to enhance the national dam safety framework. And then more direct objectives of this exercise was to provide a comprehensive set of country case studies, including 51 countries, with balanced representation of the various factors. And then the second one is to carry out a comparative analysis of legal and regulatory and institutional aspects. And lastly, to recommend the set of legal, regulatory, and institutional frameworks suitable for different country circumstances, supported by a menu of different options. Okay, this map shows the country, chosen 51 countries, and we have chosen them there with due consideration to geographical distribution and also income level, which is shown in the different colors and as shown in the legend at the bottom left. Okay, so this 51 countries cover nearly 70% of the total land area, roughly 80% of the world's population, and accounts for more than 95% of dams registered with MYCOLD, more than 85% of registered storage capacity with MYCOLD, and so forth. Okay, here is a template of country case studies, including country characteristic, legal basis for dam safety legislation, governance and institutional arrangements, contents of the regulatory regime, operational maintenance, emergency preparedness plan, and so forth. First, we have looked into the legal system or types of law, since there are quite distinctions about the legal provision for dam safety, for example, between civil law countries and the common law countries. And civil law strictly prescribes dam safety requirements in legislation with no judicial precedent, and dam safety regulation that should be conducted in a more prescriptive manner. And common law is primarily based on judicial precedents, allowing generic laws with reference to guidelines to required standards. And the common law countries account, as indicated in red, account for around 1/3 of total cases, and civil law countries indicated in blue account for around 2/3 of the case studies. Okay, the continuing legal basis for dam safety assurance. First and only 40% countries or jurisdiction have legislated dedicated dam safety law, as shown in blue. And then around 2/3 of the countries have covered dam safety under broader enabling laws or mother laws with regard to water or environment management and water use sectors such as irrigation, energy, and so forth. And these are shown in the red color for water law, and then green for environmental law, and the gray for water use sector law. And the types of enabling laws differ from country to country depending on the types of dams portfolio, development of dams history, and so forth. Okay, now this independence or separation of the laws between the owners and regulators is very important, but in reality, independent dam safety authorities, which do not own any dams, are not universal, as shown in the dark green, 24%, and also predominantly located in high-income countries. And some countries employ self-irrigation system with some semi-independent review mechanism and the specific codes and the guidelines and so forth as shown in green and the yellow. And self-regulation countries without any legislation shown in the purple manifest significant gaps and risks with no or inadequate technical guidelines, monitoring and reporting requirements. Okay, institutional arrangements of regulators. The nearly two-thirds of country case studies have incorporated dam safety provision into cross-sectoral regulatory system. They're shown in the dark green, led by water sector, and then the green led by environment sector, and then agriculture, energy sector, and so forth. And around one-third have developed differentiated sectoral regulations in parallel, such as this one side for hydropower sector, another one for water resources, irrigation, and so forth. And in case of parallel regulatory frameworks for different sectors, an apex coordination body should be established for ensuring consistent approach to dam safety between different sectors. This slide shows this, on the vertical the different types of or authorities or powers endowed to regulators, and the horizontal axis indicates the number of case studies. And most countries have given regulators the power to develop norms and standards, and also issue licenses, permits, maintain registered inventory of dams, and so forth, and even power to conduct audits, inspections, and so forth. Okay, now I'm going to show you two slides. The first one is the capturing criteria for dams legislation, and the second one is related to dams classification system. And here, in many countries, a minimum height or capacity is specified under laws or regulations for standardizing which dams are subject to legal dam safety provisions. And the threshold should be sufficiently low to capture most dams subject to regulation. At the same time, since it's not an easy task to complete existing dams registration, even in advanced countries, it is important to carefully consider the available resources and the capacity of regulators for setting up their capturing criteria. And dam mapper, using satellite image and so forth, is becoming an effective tool for the small dams capturing, as client countries often do not have full inventory, including small dams. And this pie chart shows this, around half in dark blue, the size based only. And for this one, notice the hazard potential based only, and then the combination between site and hazard in gray. Okay, now this is the dam classification system, which is instrumental in defining the design criteria and dam safety requirements for different class of dams, the risk of dams. And around 2/3 of the countries have established a classification system, which is largely categorized by 3 types. One dimension size-based only, which is indicating dark blue, and then downstream hazard potential or consequence-based, which is indicated in orange, and then the combined approach shown in gray. And 1/3 of the country cases, as shown in the light blue, do not have any particular classification system. And countries should develop their own system, considering their dams portfolio, potential risk, natural and the social conditions. This slide shows this emergency preparedness plan preparation and implementation requirements by regulation. And as shown on the left chart, more than half of the countries mandated their EPP preparation and implementation under regulations, but other countries prepare and implement EPP on a more voluntary basis, on a good practice basis. And the right-hand graph shows more details. Some countries specifies more details in the regulations. For example, there's the bottom EPP is mandated for specific classes, such as high risk or medium risk. And then there's the EPP's sophistication level is defined depending on the dam class and so forth. And then some procedure aspects, some institutional coordination mechanism, dissemination, awareness, raising, procedure, and so forth under the regulation. Okay, so this slide shows the key elements and the determinants informing regulatory frameworks for dam safety. On the left, the foundation for effective safety assurance is an appropriate and well-designed regulatory framework that captures the legal aspect at the bottom of the pyramid, and then the institutional and the financial capacity in the middle as enablers, and then the technical intervention at the top in the context of particular country and the jurisdiction. And on the right, while the type of legal system administration will define how the regulatory framework can be established, type of typical size of dams, size of country's dams portfolio, few or many, or types of ownership, private or public, or hazard potential, will guide the main features of a suitable dam safety assurance regime. So this diagram indicates a continuum from minimum to maximum dam safety assurance. On left, if the number of dams in the country are very few, maybe there's no particular supervisory regulations, only dams do some self-regulation. But as we go toward the right, maybe in the middle, and still just the owners do this self-regulation, but there are some semi-independent mechanism may be established. And then if you further go into the right to the extreme, where there are many high dams built across the sectors, and many of them have high consequences or risk, and then they may need to establish a more fully independent, fully empowered authority. But the important thing is that authority needs to be supported by the sufficient technical expertise, human and institutional, and also financial capacity. Okay, this slide shows the decision support tool for informing suitable regulatory framework for dam safety with key determinants. From top, the legal system, the common law or civil law, and then the administrative system, the centralized or decentralized, and then the owners, primarily owners, public or private, and then the portfolio size and the dam size, general risk or downstream consequence level. And depending on the country's portfolio characteristics, including this key determinants, continuum options can be derived. And the important thing is that the regulatory framework should be fit for purpose. And indeed, we are currently applying this tool for some of our client countries, including Laos and Sri Lanka, and also Uganda. And other countries also have expressed an interest to work with us. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. You can download the publication from the link here. Thank you.
Thank you, Insinyur Polycarp Wong Hyang Phui. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to our kind and esteemed introducers, Yang Berbahagia Datin Profesor Insinyur Dr. Lariah Muhammad Siddiq and Insinyur Polycarp Wong Hyang Phui, also to all our distinguished keynote speakers. Before we end our session today, I would like to make some important announcements. The conference dinner will be held tonight at Level 3, Conference Hall 2 and 3 at Kuala Lumpur Convention KLCC. Please make it a point to join us for the dinner. We will have two celebrations. One, we shall celebrate the success of participants who have passed the Certified Dam Safety Inspector course. And two, we shall have a special announcement for Best Dam Operator Award in 3 categories. So do not miss the excitement of Malaysian culture and delicacies, global networking, and lots of fun. So ladies and gentlemen, here's the arrangement. Please be informed that the conference provides 4 shuttle buses. Please gather outside the main lobby. The first bus will leave at 6:45. That's immediately after this. And there are 4 buses, don't worry. And the last bus will leave at 7:45 p.m. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I guess I shall wrap up the day. So on behalf of the organizer, I would like to extend our gratitude to our distinguished guests and all participants in making this event a success. I wish you a pleasant day and see you at dinner tonight, okay? All right, thank you.